Welcome to the My Way podcast with Andrew Jones. This is where entrepreneurs share their way of running a business. We'll discuss what habits and strategy are required to scale a successful business. Laura, thanks for making the time to come to the My Way podcast, all the way from mid Wales. I think just starting off, could you give the listeners a bit of an understanding around Squirrels Nest, Towander, and your journey so far?
Okay, yeah, so we're actually sheep farmers from mid Wales, and we were looking at diversifying on the farm years ago now, back in 2018. My husband John is a carpenter builder by trade, so we were looking at possibly building some sort of construction on the farm, maybe lodges, pods. After a lot of research, we just could see that sort of type of accommodation could have got saturated in the future. So we were looking at alternatives, and John, after lots of research on the internet, thought about tree houses, and at the time I think people thought we were a little bit bonkers, and I think the council really struggled when we were going through planning to sort of navigate actually what we were doing and whether we needed building regs and all kinds of things like this. So it was it was a slow start with planning as well. The first treehouse took about 9 months in planning, but that's kind of where we started back 2018. In a field in the middle of nowhere on our farm in rural mid Wales. We didn't think anyone was going to come to see us and stay with us, but it worked really well. The first tree house was fully booked for the first 6 months, and it kind of went from there. We've now got 3, and that is what makes the money for us on the farm. There isn't any money in sheep farming these days, and people do have to diversify. For us, it's worked because obviously my husband's a builder, so he's utilised his skills, and I've realised that I've got skills that I didn't think I had as we've gone through the journey. That's where we're at with Squirrels Nest, and then commission was a huge issue for us when we first started. We were the booking agent. And we actually listed with an online directory who were directing traffic straight to people's websites, and we were cutting out that commission. So we saw a gap in the market really back then, and we thought it'd be quite a simple business model and a simple business to start. Nearly 4 years on, we're now an established online directory called Towander. And we've got over 200 properties listed. So we've had a busy 4 years with children in the mix as well. So it's been, busy.
Absolutely. Talking about rural business, mid Wales, what are some of the challenges that come with that?
Definitely support, networking. Like I said, we're very rural. The nearest town to us is about 25 minutes away. And then in those towns, you haven't necessarily got entrepreneurs, small businesses. You've got shops, you've got your Tesco, you've got not necessarily startups, I would say. So I did struggle at the start, and I found coming down to Cardiff, I've met like-minded people and I've been able to sort of learn from others and get advice. It's difficult. It's a difficult area to be in. And so far from anywhere really, like over the border from us, you've got Herefordshire, going into England then. I've struggled. Yeah,
it's difficult, isn't it? Like with any successful business, you have a good support network of people around you, people that you can bounce off. And I think it's a massive shame for a lot of businesses in rural areas, and whether it's something that like Welsh Government can do a little bit more of is to support those businesses, because it's definitely needed, especially when, if you look at like the farm and what you mentioned, future's not looking too bright for that. So for generations previously, we just go and work on the farm. That might not be an option for a lot of people in the future.
No.
How do you obviously you've got the little ones. How do you balance being a mum and also running 2 pretty full-on businesses?
I've struggled at times, I'm not going to lie, but it's we've got good staff now, and that I think I've learnt to delegate and to have trust in people. Like I said, we've got good staff. We're really, really lucky. But it's been a juggle, and I'm supposed to be on maternity leave at the moment, but I do find myself eking into the business because it's your own business. You feel so committed and you want it to succeed, you want it to thrive. So naturally you want to be involved. So it's getting that work-life balance. I'm getting there,
Yeah.
but it's and because we're people are on site as well. Our office is at the home on the farm, so it's quite easy to just pop into the office all the time. Whereas if it was maybe off site, I could detach things a little bit better.
What are some of the methods that you've maybe adopted to try and have that balance and to sort of be able to switch off?
Well, it's getting self-discipline, definitely, which I'm getting, I think, a little bit better at. It's having the girls, they work from home a couple of days a week now, which I find is a bit of a breather, again, because I find myself going into the office because they're there. Yeah, I think, I don't know what else really. Just it is self-discipline and just trying to be a bit more with a routine, but it's just with kids, it just all goes out the window some days.
I think you've done an amazing job. So for the listeners, I work with Law on a monthly basis from a coaching standpoint, but you've done a really good job of building a good team around you that allows you to be able to take that step back with the staff. They take responsibility. You know, when you're going through that recruitment process and you're building a team around you, what's some of the things that you consider or you look for in someone?
I've definitely learned over the years it's not necessarily about qualifications and skills. Obviously, that's huge. It's massively relevant, but it is about the person, and I get a gut feeling about people, and if they are willing to work. And I've had a member of staff that's tried for a job 3 times, so I knew that she was very interested and committed, and it's actually worked out brilliantly. But yeah, to me it's about the person. One of the girls that works for us actually hasn't got any qualifications in the role that she's come for, but she's learnt on the job and she's amazing. So it's just having that eye and that gut feeling, I think, is important with anybody. Qualifications are qualifications, but they're not necessarily everything.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. I think when I look at the staff that you've got, they've got a willingness to learn. They take responsibility. They help each other out all the time. I think you've got to wear a number of different hats if you're in a small business.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think they do all of that. Going back to where you started, so 2018 you started Squirrels Nest. You're a luxury treehouse accommodation facility in mid Wales. COVID comes, and that obviously for that initial year creates a huge amount of issues. How did you navigate all of that?
Yeah, it was difficult, like for everybody. So we were completely shut, and how it worked was that we either moved people's bookings to a future date, or we had to refund them. So to us, we lost out hugely because that, even though we were pushing bookings on, we were losing out on that booking because somebody else would have booked that in if we hadn't have gone into lockdown. So it was huge, but it also gave us sort of space to sort of stand back and reevaluate a few things. Had time with the kids. It was a nice break, but it was good to get back on track. And get going again back in that March. But I just utilised that time. We actually had a great collaboration with Dan Elm during lockdown, which was huge for us as a business. They ran a competition to win a 2-night stay with us, and they arranged a hamper of goodies. Again, on Instagram, it was nuts. It was like over 40,000 new followers within 48 hours. So it was huge for us as a business. But I had that time in lockdown to start thinking about exactly what we wanted from a business and where we could see ourselves going. The sort of brand we were looking at being, we were evolving to. So yeah, and of course Towander, the ball got rolling on Towander because I was just bored. I don't know why, but the ball just started rolling, and 4 years on, we're much further ahead.
You touched upon there around COVID gave a lot of people the time to take a step back in their business and to really think about what direction it's going in, what's working, what's not working. I feel like when I work with you, you're very strategic in the way that you think, and you're good at spotting opportunities. How do you create that time to think about those things? And talk me through how you structure your weeks and your days and things like that.
I don't know if there is any structure, Andrew. It's a bit chaotic, but I just I learn from others. I see what others are doing and I try and replicate that from our business. I'm like, if they could do that, I could do that. And it's just seeing gaps and it's looking at why is that not working? How are we going to make that work? And it's just brainstorming and it's getting with the team and looking at how we can achieve that. So if it's bookings that we want, how are we going to get these bookings? What can we do differently to other people are doing? And like social media is massive for our business. So it's just looking at things that are trendy as well. What are people wanting as well? So for us, it's about experience. When people come to stay at Squirrels Nest, it's about having that experience at Squirrels Nest. So we try to communicate that via our social media. So we're very mindful and we plan well as to how we want to get us across. So when we first started, people said, like, what's your USP? And we didn't really know back then, but it's evolved definitely over the years as to what kind of customer that would come to us. So we now know how to advertise that.
It's definitely something that I feel like you were ahead of the game going back in 2018. Like, you've built, what's Squirrels Nest following now on Instagram? It's,
I think it's 130,000-ish.
So for a accommodation business in Mid Wales, you built to 130,000. You're a lot further ahead of your competitors in that. If there was someone listening to this that's looking to build their online brand, build their following, talk us through the timeline of what you did and how you did it.
It's investing in help and support, definitely. And it's just, I don't know, it's good to go on courses and to upskill things, but I think it's just being present on social media, seeing what other people are doing. And if you enjoy it, just have a fiddle, try, and it will pay off. If you've got something special as well, and you're looking to do collaborations, you will get them. They will come your way. You just need to persevere with it. But to me, you've got to stand out in the market. We are, and I think it's not necessarily our product. It's the way that we advertise our product. And we kind of now know, like I said, who our USP are, who we are, and who we're appealing to. So we advertise for them. To get them to come. They want to be part, they want to experience it because those people online are experiencing it. We want to experience, it's that FOMO.
Absolutely. When we've had conversations in the past, Laura, you've talked about being in rural Mid Wales, your friends that want to start businesses. When you're having conversations with people around starting a business or scaling a business, what's some of the advice you give or would give?
It's having the time, and don't underestimate how much work is involved in starting up your own business. I totally underestimated the amount of work that would be involved in Towander. I thought it was a simple business model. It's an online directory, it's a subscription, but it's getting out there in the World Wide Web. It's getting people to know you. And back then, because we were doing well on social media, I was thinking, well, we can utilise social media. This is going to work really well for us. But as you all know, like, social media's changed massively over the last couple of years, Instagram specifically. So it's getting out there to people. It's not just social media, it's SEO, it's ads, and financially it's a lot more investment than I thought. So it's just being aware that there's a lot of hard work and financial contributions that need to be accounted for beforehand, I would say. And you never switch off. You're always thinking, because it's your own business, you need to make it work. So you're constantly thinking. When I worked in employment, I'd leave at 5:00 and that would be it. I'm in home life, and then I go back at 9:00. But now my head is just spinning constantly. And because we've got 2 or 3 businesses, because we're a wedding venue as well, I'm just constantly thinking of ideas because I wanted to continuously make it bigger and better every year, because we don't want the next person catching us up, if you know what I mean. So I just need to be ahead of the game constantly.
It's difficult, isn't it, in terms of within entrepreneurship, having that creativity and thinking about the business all the time, but also being happy with what you've got. Like, I'm sure if I said to you back in 2018, you'd be doing the numbers that you're doing now, which is pretty impressive, to have the amazing customer experience that you've got now. How do you enjoy entrepreneurship, but also be ambitious and have those goals?
I am ambitious, and I want to keep going, and I don't know. I think that's as entrepreneurs that you can never settle because you want to keep succeeding. So like we're looking to potentially grow again. Sorry, what was the question again?
I was asking it was around how can you be ambitious? Because
Yeah.
you are, and I know because I work with you, you're always looking ahead, but also enjoy what you've got. Because I see so many entrepreneurs that go through the journey of running a business and they're not actually very present, they're not enjoying it. It's always what's next.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I say it to my husband a lot because I'm like, what we've got is amazing. We should be happy, but we're just eager and keen for the next thing. And sometimes you do have to be present and enjoy life. We've just been away abroad and we were like, oh my God, this is amazing. Why have we not done this before?
Yeah.
Like, this is like so relaxing because we've completely switched off from the business. We're like thousands of miles away from home. They're doing fine at home without us.
Yeah.
But sometimes you've just got to step back and enjoy life and be a bit more present, especially with the kids as well. Sometimes it's just a race. There's like activity, school, rugby, football. And then in the mix, there's cooking tea, there's cleaning, there's running businesses.
A
so
lot of
it's
people
just
get guilt with that as well. Like,
Yeah.
how do you? I know that's stuff that we've talked about in the past. How do you manage it?
sometimes I don't, and I have moments definitely, but it's hard, and you have guilt that you're not potentially present for your children and your family, and something's got to give though. Like at the moment, cooking wise, teas, it's just not happening. We've got HelloFresh because I'm just busy with other things, and I think that's the important thing, is that something has to give. You cannot do everything, and you cannot be every role, especially as a woman. And I think your role as a woman has definitely changed massively over the last 40 years. You're expected to do and be so many things, and that's a lot of the pressure that people put on themselves. But sometimes it is just thinking, actually, I don't need to do that, or I shouldn't do that, or delegating to other people.
Yeah. Over the past sort of 6 or so years then, like entrepreneurship and running a business is a very, you learn a lot about yourself. It's a journey. What have you learned about yourself over the past 6 years?
I can't believe I am very, very driven, very ambitious, and I don't know what for. I don't know what I want, so I don't know why I'm like it. But we have done well, we're doing well, and I want to keep doing well. So I think that's what I've learned, which is, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but we'll see. Yeah.
Okay. I think I think you've come on like leaps and bounds for me. Like I first met you back on the Nous Accelerator that first time to where you are now. I think you've done a really good job of giving away responsibility. I think you've obviously had the little one now, you've gone on maternity leave, and you've just trusted the team to be able to pick up things and run with it.
Yeah.
And I think if you're looking to really grow something and scale something, you can't be a control freak all the time.
And do you know what? I think, going back to what you were saying before, I think I'm a lot happier now because the sales side of the business was my responsibility, but we've got staff members now that do that. So that is such a relief for me that I haven't got that pressure constantly for sales outside of work, because it wasn't like I was just doing it inside of work. I was bringing it outside back into the home. So it was becoming quite stressful, whereas now I have delegated that now to somebody else in their role, and I can relax a lot more and be on the business, not in the business, like you would say.
Yeah. The sales side of things, like, it's funny, when we have our coaching sessions, I'll talk about different tactics, strategies, techniques and whatnot. And sometimes we'll not clash heads as such, but you'll be like, I'm just going to have a conversation. And I love it because I think I can overcomplicate it sometimes because you're always looking for extra percent of how can we get better conversions. Talk the listeners through your approach to sales, because you're good at it. You're very good.
Like, sales is not my background whatsoever. None of this is my background, actually. So I'm learning all the time. And again, I've learnt how to approach and deal with sales. And it's just being normal. It's just being you. It's just, you want people to relate to you. So because we are owners of accommodation, and I'm speaking to owners of accommodation, and a lot of them are farmers as well. So we have a lot to chat about. They have a lot to relate to us with. And normally it's just a nice chat on the phone. Like, I don't really like discussing stats and being too forceful. If they want to learn more about that and they approach us about it, then of course I'll get back to them about things. But it's sort of looking at their needs, what their wants, what are their desires, what are they struggling with, and how we're going to help them.
Yeah.
So that's what I've sort of come to realise when I've been talking to potential owners, and how I've sort of taught our staff to deal with them. And it seems to be working.
Nobody likes hard sell. No one wants to feel pressure on
and
a
I
call.
think they just know they can pick up the phone and have just a chat. And like the girls in the office, one of them's a farmer's daughter as well, so she's off a farm, for example. They're all like local to the area, and because we're a relatively small business at the moment, we know everyone by first name basis as well. So I think that's important to us, that we're making these owners feel that they are special and that they are included in a small business.
I think as well on the sales side of thing, it's like a bit of a dirty word, it feels like sometimes. You're really good at dealing with things that are important and things that are instead of urgent. I think some people get pulled from pillar to post throughout their days because they're getting WhatsApps, they're getting messages, but you like go into your day and you're like, even if there's three things I need to do today, those are most three important things to do.
Yeah. Ultimately, financially, the business needs to pay, so it's financial jobs that need doing are a priority in any business. And if that means that you need to be picking the phone up to an owner to discuss any issues that they've got, any concerns or any support that they need, to make sure that they feel like they can stay with us for another year, that's a priority for me.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say the future looks like for Squirrels Nest and Towander?
Squirrels Nest, I think, is exciting. Like we said, we're a wedding venue now. I want to remain quite a small and intimate wedding venue. I think my husband would prefer it if it was a bigger one, but I think we're a niche at the moment because it's a small venue and we can only have up to 16. I think niche is good.
Yeah.
And it's the work-life balance with the kids as well. So I'm just aware of that. But yeah, we're looking to expand. We've got a good brand. We've got the staff. So why not? So yeah.
Niche is, I love that. Niche is good. And if you think about it from Towander UK standpoint, your competitors have been in the industry a lot longer, haven't they? They've got a lot more budget. They're established brands. How do you approach that in terms of finding your USP, finding your niche?
When we look at our competitors, I think we look at, how are we different to them? And it's making sure we communicate across in our branding and to our owners. And in like our, not slogans, but like the information that we've got and we put out is that we're a small family-run business. We're just like you. We are owners and we want you to save money. So, yeah, we're here to help. We've been through it. We've done this. We've been on an online directory. We've saved thousands of pounds a year. We know it's doable, but it's communicating that across to them.
Yeah. With business, like like anyone else, plenty of ups and downs. And sometimes you can get stuck in a rut and the business has become stagnant. What would your advice be to a listener who's in that position now?
I think it's really thinking about what is the issue. And for us, with Towander, as you know, it kept coming back to the website, kept coming back to return on investment. We want to be showing our owners that what we do is of value to them. And it just wasn't doing it. It wasn't fit for purpose. So we're currently in the process of building a brand new website, which will really clearly show them what we're doing for their money.
Yeah.
But we talked a lot about all these various issues and it just kept coming back to the current website. So I would just say, just brainstorm, look at what is the issue? What's the
common denominator?
What's the common issue?
I think,
and it should bring you back to something.
And don't, what you're good at is you don't bury your head in the sand. You're like, it's not working, we need to make a change.
And it's like, sometimes you need to spend money to make money. And I know, and like for us, we've been very cautious because it's a brand new business, but we've realised, and because a new website is a huge investment, but it is an investment. It's seen as it's going to make the business bigger and better. So sometimes we've held back a little bit on maybe getting some staff, and I've been doing things, but actually it's been better to spend that money, delegate, for me to be better at managing all the projects, and making sure that they're running more efficiently, for example. So yeah, that's what I'd probably say.
Okay. More of a selfish question this one is now.
Okay.
I've been working with you now for a number of years. What are some of the benefits you'd say of coaching, and how has it helped the business and yourself?
It's having somebody to be accountable to, I think, is big, because I'm the owner, I've got no boss, I've got no one that's looking at me and asking me and stripping me down and saying, look, what are you doing there? How are you doing that? I didn't have that before. And although my husband's around, he's obviously farming, building. So it's having that person to discuss probably bigger changes in the business too as well. But yeah, without having you over the last 4 years, we definitely wouldn't be and wouldn't have made the progress we have with both businesses. Just because of the advice, and like I said, just putting me, why aren't you doing that? Why? And I'm like, well, why aren't I doing that? And give me options, and helping with staff as well, and just efficiency in any business, because it is difficult juggling life, kids, families, and whatnot. So yeah, no, it's
amazing.
been great.
Thank you, Laura.
It's all right.
Thanks for your time today. I've really enjoyed our conversation. I think you do yourself a disservice sometimes. That the progress you've made with Squirrels Nest is absolutely phenomenal. And I'm sure Towander is getting to that point as well. I think the creativity and the risk around diversification on the farm, because you might not have had people around you that were pushing for that. It's fairly new in some way, shape or form. So a massive thank you for your time, and I'm sure we'll do this again in the future at some point.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you.